Well, that just happened. Buddy Daddies episode 11 was not playing around. Now, I saw some conspiracy theories last week. What if the mom was lying, she didn't have cancer, this was a big ploy just to get her away? Didn't really make sense to me, given the fact that we knew Rei's father was legitimately targeting both Kazuki and Miri, so should she stay, she would literally be in danger. Yes, we see how well that works out, because even after being separated, the father still thought she was a threat because he was growing too soft, because God forbid someone shows a little compassion in their life. But man, this episode, it breaks you. Now, there is only 12 episodes apparently. Now, for the longest time, my anime list had 13 episodes listed. It turns out the reason the 13 episodes was a thing was because of the one planned recap. So next week seemingly is the final episode, given every listing in Japan is saying final episode next week. Honestly, it kind of makes sense given the fact that you already resolved one of the biggest hurdles about how our two fathers were going to come back into contact with their lovable daughter. And well, you kill the mother, but man did she not deserve that. They really hammered it in. She was changed, she was reformed, she was giving it her all. And you just had to bring him the psychopath who's collecting names like he's Thanos with the Infinity Stones. The fact that in the middle of something so heartbreaking, he can look you dead in the eye and say, get her last words. I'll collect it from you later. The dude needs to go. Now, before we jump any further, gotta mention, we do have that full live reaction available on my Patreon, so if you want to see my full live reaction heartbreak in the moment, head on over there and consider supporting. Buddy Daddies has truly become one of this season's best, and in my opinion, is going to be one of this year's best anime overall, but man, to just have the whole concept of the mother who, yes, maybe wasn't going to be 100% change, but I was still expecting her to give it an honest shot, to see her no longer feeding Miri garbage frozen food. She's working hard to make a healthy, nutritious, homemade meal, and the fact that she got Miri to enjoy the healthy side. The fact that when it gets brought up that, hey, you know, these aren't your real fathers, and she's gushing about them, there's no anger, there's no resentment, there's only guilt. She apologizes, she says, I need to be better, I will be better for you. And I'm looking at this saying, that is actually nice to see. I'm glad that whether it's the sister-in-law not actually hating Kazuki, or it's the mother actually escaping her own form of kind of trapped in hell abuse with the whole toxic situation she was in, they actually are letting characters be more than what meets the eye or appears to be at face value. And then you have to show this scumbag come in with an Amazon Prime delivery and shoot her in the stomach. The fact that her dying was on the table, of course. I just was expecting it to be through the cancer. At this point, Rei's father needs to go because episode 11 of Buddy Daddies was not playing around. I love this show. I have been one of the biggest supporters since episode 1. When episode 1 dropped, I said it was one of my personal favorite first episodes of the season, and I had people saying, it's a fun show, but I don't like it that much. But man, compare the first 4 episodes of this show to the last 4 that we've just seen, it's literally night and day, but the progression, how well written it is, PA Works just is doing things unlike anyone else. Like, PA Works still does, like, what I used to associate PA Works with, like, every so often, like, there's shows next season and this year that I'm like, yeah, that's a normal PA Works show. But man, like, the past year, 2 years, they've just been doing things that are way different than I ever expected from them, and truly are creating things that are like their new, if you're gonna watch a PA Works show, you're gonna watch Akiba Maid War, you're gonna watch the Buddy Daddies, you're gonna watch ya boy Kanming, because these shows are just different and fresh. But Buddy Daddies is easily my new favorite one that they have done because it is so well written. I think the emotions there, I think this episode was a different type of pain. The abandonment, her saying, I'll see you tomorrow from last week, I mean, that kind of hit in a very specific way. But to see them just give up, no longer really cooking, Rei feeling like he's dead inside. I mean, him holding the duck in the bathtub because it was Miri's, Kazuki just feeling like he has nothing left, and the fact that we were one moment away from them completely separating. Had Rei's father not done what he just did there, Rei would have separated, Kazuki would have got a new place, a smaller place, and it would have been very, very depressing. But the fact that his father is such a piece of garbage. Like, there's harsher words I want to use, but advertiser friendly guidelines and all that other nonsense. But the fact that, because there's that picture, oh, look it, son, you're getting this nice wholesome family moment. You know what? Listen, I know what family is. That's you killing dogs in your childhood and becoming an emotionless killer. Him literally being like, bruh, she's not even in our lives anymore. He's like, doesn't matter. I already saw a side of you that we need to kill so it never comes back. Like, if there's ever been a moment to pull a gun on your father, that is the moment right there. And really, the fact that they're trying to leave the hitman business, I will be shocked if they find a way to change this man's heart, pull a Grinch Who Stole Christmas, and let his heart grow a million sizes that day, because that's the only way this man's changing his tune. But this episode shook me. It's perfectly fine to look at the mother and say she did too much, there's no forgiving that. Everyone is different in terms of how they would respond to that situation. But in terms of, was she lying, was she BSing? No, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. We've seen it from her perspective talking with characters, and we saw it when there was no characters around. There was a genuine change that she got out of that toxic, horrible environment, and she really wanted to be there for her kid. And the fact that just the biggest thing, right, was that even if you disagreed that she was gone too long, she abandoned her child, she didn't deserve it. The thing is that the father was going to kill Miri. The father was going to kill Kazuki if something wasn't done. So in theory, it still had to be done no matter what. She was going to get killed. And the fact that even after removing her from his life, Rei's father still looked at Rei being like, you're too soft, I'm going to kill this so it never happens again. He needs to kill his dad. If there needs to be one last kill, go ahead and do this. But then again, maybe it would be better if like Q of all characters did it, like old Unky Q comes in, kills the dad for him so he doesn't have to stain his hands anymore and he can truly be free. I'd be down for that, but man, this episode hurt. Like, it's funny, I walked into this episode literally saying, I mean, you would expect it can't hurt as bad as last week because, I mean, she's already gone, right? Like, how can you hurt us anymore? But I also was like, it's Buddy Daddies. At this point, we should just assume the worst, because if we assume the best right now, I mean, we haven't reached the finish line yet. Until we reach the finish line, there's no way we get those moments. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, these characters, whether it's Kazuki losing his pregnant girl and just losing the idea that he can have family, to Rei never having family, and Miri suffering a fate where her biological father never wanted her and was a horrible person seemingly, and the mother started off pretty shitty, and then honestly, like, the fact that the cancer, if that wasn't going to do her in, of course the psychopath with his notebook wanted it. All I can say is thank God he doesn't have the death note, because you know what type of lunatic he would be. And I think what makes him such a crazy villain is that it's not like he has this grand plan. He's just a psychopath who loves his job and literally collects names like it's something to be proud of. It is terrifying, especially given how much wholesome energy can be on screen at a moment's notice. This was an absolutely heartbreaking, intense, what am I watching episode. I mean, let's see where the last stretch goes here. Let me know what you're thinking, theories if you got any down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. Also be sure to ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload on the channel. And of course, as I mentioned, we do have that full live reaction available on my Patreon. And while you're there, you can also get a video shout out. So today we have Samuel Valdez, Toby, Kirky, Skarsky, and Sign. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.